Well, we're into November and stop the presses. Or is it reboot the web server? At any rate, the Aztecs football squad notches a 24-7 win at home against the Wyoming Cowboys. It wasn't a thing of beauty, but a classic hard-hitting blue-collar affair, moving the Aztecs to 4-0 undefeated in the Mountain West, the pole position, as their highly literate head coach Sean Lewis said after the game. They are 7-1 overall, and darned if the coach wasn't lobbying any AP voters checking in on the game. His team deserves consideration for the top 25 teams in the country at this point in the season. If you listen to Coach Sean Lewis, Steve Perez flying solo here. Aztecs all in. Louis Wiener on assignment on a night where the Cowboys, a 500 team coming into the game, dashed out to an early lead, scoring on their first possession of the game. But for the visitors, that was it for their scoring. Meantime, the Aztecs did most of their damage on the scoreboard in the first half to lead by 10 at the break. Both teams then banged each other up in the second half. The Cowboys appearing to get the worst of it, judging from the guys being helped from the field. The Aztecs managed to tack on another TD on a lucky Sutton touchdown in the fourth quarter. There were now 4 games left for a team now eyeing something special that I dare not mention. But as long as this team keeps working as hard as it's been and remains focused on the task at hand, the games are there for the taking. Here's Coach Lou laying down a marker about the toughness of a 7-1 Aztecs football team after being asked about the physicality of this particular game. Also, players Lucky Sutton and Trey White add their thoughts about what I thought was a particularly hard-hitting affair by both teams.
Yeah, I mean, it's what makes our game beautiful, right? Our guys do every single week what very few do. I think it's what makes it special. Like when you put that armor on, when you put those pads on, like you know what you're stepping into. And I think when you turn our tape on, you know our brand of ball. It's going to be focused. It's going to be accountable. It's going to be smart. It's going to be tough, right? And like we get the opportunity to speak with our pads. And so, yeah, when you play the Aztecs, strap it up. Like you're going to have to bite down on your mouth guard a little bit tighter. And we're going to make sure that you want to play our brand of ball, and we're going to dictate to you. So, yeah, it's going to be physical. And, again, like we're all going to come down the stretch here, and all these games are going to become more meaningful, and ain't just going to be handed to you. Like, you got to go take it. And in this game, that requires some brute strength. That's why we got a bunch of big people. Because, yet again, big people beat up little people, right? Sir Isaac Newton taught us that.
Yeah, we knew Wyoming was definitely a hard-nosed team. They're a blue-collar team like us. So we know we was going to have to bring it. And, football's a physical game, so, we had to be ready for that on both sides of the ball. And I think tonight we out-physical them for sure.
Yeah, like Trey said, we knew it was going to be dirty today. Wyoming, they have a good defense. So we knew that, and we had that mindset that we had to have physical. We had to match physical with physicalness.
All right, let's get into the game now with the Aztecs winning the toss, deferring to the second half, and we in the press box are admonished at the outset. There's no cheering, no disruptive behavior. It is a working press box after all. The student section, call it half full. It's 73 degrees at kickoff. Final game in the series between these two teams that are members of the Mountain West now and officially met back in the day when both were members of the Western Athletic Conference. Opening drive begins in the 25 after Gabe Placencia kicks it into the end zone. No huddle for the boys. Caden Anderson completes in the flat for a 1-yard gain with Chris Johnson saying hello with an extra hard hit. They will then give to Samuel Harris for 7. On 3rd and 2, Anderson completes deep downfield for 23 for a fresh set of downs at the Aztec 44. After a short gain on the ground with QB Landon Sims in the game, Sims will break free down the left side of the field, running far away from any Aztec defender. Dwayne McDougal finally runs him down, but not before getting to the Aztec 5-yard line. Sims will complete a 3-yard pass, and it's Wyoming on top to open the scoring 7-0. After 2 Aztec possessions, no points, just punts. It's 7-0. Wyoming's third possession, 2nd and 5 on their own 25. Anderson's pass is intercepted. It's Bryce Phillips up with it to the Cowboys 25. 3:42 left in the quarter. Identical first down throw underneath to Byron Carwell Jr. Looks like a designed middle screen, with Denegal first looking off the defense left before tossing to Cardwell, and he's on the move from there, showing great speed to beat two defenders to get to the end zone. Aztecs offense shows life after the defense gives them great field position on the turnover. Tie ball game, still 3:32 first quarter. Pokes on their own 25. They will go 3 and out on the ensuing punt. Aztecs have to call a timeout, otherwise would have had too many on the field. Jordan Napier fields the punt, fakes out the gunner, gets out of bounds at the Aztec 25. 1st and 10, still 2:11 left in the quarter. Denegal has plenty of time to throw. Deep over the middle to Mikey Welsh. It's a 30-yard completion, or is it? Refs want to take another look at this one. The ball underthrown, and Welsh had to go down for it. And refs on review say that ball hit the ground. No catch. 2nd and 10. Aztecs incomplete to Lucky Sutton. The ensuing pass is complete to Welsh with the defender falling all over him. The Aztecs forced the punt because it was inside the chains. 4 possessions, 3 punts, 1 TD for the Aztecs in a long first quarter. We'll move to the second now, where the Aztecs will come up with another turnover in Wyoming territory. 3rd and 7, Anderson back to throw. Aztecs D stiffened after the Cowboys score in their opening drive. It's a rock fight. Favors the visiting underdog if it remains this close. So on that play, Anderson back in, and a great play by Dwayne McDougal, who will tip the ball in the secondary and then come down with it. Aztecs back in business on the Wyoming 36, 13:51 to play in the half. Sutton gets some 20 yards on 5 carries on the ensuing drive, but the Aztecs must settle for a Placencia 34-yard field goal attempt. He will make it for a 10-7 lead. Again, a lot of hard hitting on both sides, punctuating the play, but leading to no points. Napier fields a punt with Cowboys all around. He'll dodge a few and get forced out of bounds, and the Cowboy defender decides Napier needs a hit anyways and is flagged for it. Aztecs appear to be on the mood after the penalty, but this drive will come to a screeching halt on what at first glance looks like a fumble, but is in fact an interception in the backfield. Denegal tosses the ball forward on that play. It's an end around to Napier, but it bounces off his hands directly to a big defensive lineman, Tegan Sees. Boys have their first turnover of the game in midfield. So the Cowboys are now heading toward the student section end of the field, and they are all chanting defense throughout the drive. Sims in at quarterback, who runs for a first down to the Aztec 35. He will throw high then on the next play to an open receiver, incomplete. 2nd and 10, a short gain on a carry by Sam Scott. 3rd and 9, Sims still in at QB. Crowd giving him the business. Another short gain by Scott. 4th and 8, the play clock ticking down. What's the call going to be, Coach? He doesn't know. And calls timeout to think it over. 6:26 in the first half. Place kicker Eric Sandvik's attempt is short. Aztecs 1st and 10 at their own 32. Sutton will carry for 4. A 2nd down toss deep to Donovan Brown, complete to the Wyoming 24. Short completion to Jackson Ford. 2 carries for Sutton. 1st and 7 on the Cowboy 7. 3:43 in the half. They will give to Napier, lined up in the backfield. Sutton running interference. Napier has to break a tackle to avoid a loss, but then will breeze into the end zone for a touchdown. The drive takes 6 plays, 67 yards. 3 minutes, 10 seconds, and they now lead 17-7. Sims running the offense on the next possession for the Cowboys. On 2nd and 9 from the Wyoming 26, Sims tries a run up the middle, and a couple of Aztecs are there to greet him at the line of scrimmage. He will toss a pass. It looked a shade late past the line of scrimmage. It falls incomplete, but he is down on the field after the play. We will have an injury timeout with him clutching that left leg. It was planted when Dale John Staley delivered a high, hard, but clean hit. Sims will be helped off the field, unable to put any weight on it, and I wager that will be the last the Aztecs see of Mr. Sims in this football game, barring any miracle. 3 plays later on a 2nd and 7 play, Staley tips an Anderson pass. Owen Chambliss has it to the Wyoming 48. Aztecs in business, it would appear, driving with time running out in the first half to the Cowboys 19. Some nifty running by Cardwell. And from our vantage point in the press box now on this play, Denegal was looking at his target, Donovan Brown, the whole time. There's a Cowboy safety watching the quarterback's eyes, and Justin Taylor has the ball at the Wyoming 6 like he's the intended receiver. Wyoming will run twice, let the clock run out, to end a very eventful first half. But for those 2 Aztec turnovers, the Aztecs would be leading by more than 10 at the break. But scoreboard, that ball that ended up in the breadbasket of the Cowboy defensive lineman Keegan Sees didn't travel far, but adds up to 2 interceptions for Denegal against 3 thrown by Anderson. Cowboys actually outgained the Aztecs on the ground in the first half, 20 carries for a net of 81. The bulk of that on the first series, run by Sims for 37 yards. Aztecs 15 carries, 55 yards. The passing game generates 160 yards. Denegal 9 of 15 with the 2 INTs. After surrendering the TD on the opening drive, Aztecs defense settles in. Cowboys Anderson 6 of 13, 3 interceptions. Just unfortunate for the Aztecs that the offense can only get 10 points out of the short fields. Moving to the second half now. It lacked scoring, as we said at the outset, but if there was a smack-down-o-meter measuring the force of the hits that kept on coming on both sides of the ball by both teams, it would have been pinning the needle. Pokes trying to sniff a comeback in that thin mountain air they brought down with them to sea level. Third quarter opens with Aztecs pinned deep at their own 10 after a holding call on the return. Denegal hits Napier for 8 on 3rd and 5, then lasers a 26-yard beauty to Nathan Acevedo down the sideline. Sutton takes over, grinds left for 11, middle for 8. Aztecs offense marches 90 yards in 13 plays, eating 6:44 of clock like it is nothing. They are at the Wyoming 5, apparently a golden opportunity, but instead have to settle for a chip shot field goal attempt. And as all streaks have to come to an end, kicker Gabe Placencia's streak ends with a pushed chip shot that misses left. He'd been automatic while hitting 26 straight dating back to last season, but this 23-yarder misses the mark. Aztecs will come away with nada from the turnover. The crowd will groan, but the D will step up. Wyoming sputters with Taron Kelman gains of 4 and a loss of 1. Anderson's third down dart to Michael Fitzgerald draws a flag, but goes nowhere after that. Aztecs will set up to receive a punt. They field it at their 39. Napier busts the 10-yard scamper to the left, but then Denegal, he sails passes incomplete on 2nd and 3rd down. Hunter Green will boom a 48-yard punt for a touchback. So the Cowboys on their drive start at the 20. Anderson's first down incomplete. Anderson scrambles middle for 4 more, but it eventually will add up to another Edmiston punt that will pin San Diego State at the 18. And then a holding penalty on the punt return buries him deeper to the 9. Christian Washington gets a carry for no gain. Sutton fights for 3 yards twice. And Green is forced to punt. This ball will reach midfield. Wyoming has a last gasp to score in the 3rd. Anderson connects with Samuel Harris left for 10. Harris to the middle for 1. The quarter ends no blood in the 3rd quarter. 4th quarter begins with Wyoming having life at the Aztec 44. Anderson hits Dion LeBlanc for no gain. Then John Michael Geilenberg receives for 10 yards as a first down. There's an incomplete pass deep, but a pass interference call on the play will give the visitors a free 15. They will follow them with a false start that backs them up 5. Then a holding penalty kills any momentum. Kelman will lose 2. And then another takeaway. Anderson dumps it to Fitzgerald, middle for 8, but Malachi Finau will strip that ball right on down to the primer. Eric Butler scoops it up at the 28. Aztecs ball with another turnover, but again, Aztecs unable to convert. Denegal's passes fall incomplete. Sutton will grind for 3. And Green forced to punt a 55-yarder that Wyoming returns 37 yards to the Aztec 49. A holding call on their side will move the ball back to the 39. Kelman powers to the middle for 5 and 2, and then bursts right for 5. First down at the 27. Then follows an incomplete pass to Fitzgerald. Max White to the middle for 1. Anderson is sacked by Ryan Henderson for 7 yards. 4th and 16 from the 33. And it's Sandvik in to attempt a 50-yard field goal. And this one is woefully short. No bueno. Aztecs ball at their own 33. Sutton carries to the middle for 3. He is stuffed for no gain. Fights for 2 in the next play. 4th and 5. Green again punts. This one is a 62-yarder that ends up in the end zone. Wyoming running out of time, 5:49 to play, starting from their own 20. Samuel Harris right for 2, left for 1. Anderson then sacked by Trey White for a loss. The ensuing punt gives the Aztecs possession at their 39. Pokies will call a timeout. Sutton carries for 5. The next play, boom, 11 yards to the Cowboy 45. And then the next play, Sutton offsides. It kind of backs him up 5 yards, but maybe that just gave him a little more time to get up ahead of steam. On the next play, he will bust through a hole that you could have driven a truck through. Explodes up the middle and away from what appears now to be a gassed Cowboys defense. A 50-yard house call. Placencia drills the PAT. It's 24-7 Aztecs. 2:55 left to play, a 3-score game. Heave-ho time now for Wyoming. Anderson incomplete to the middle. He is sacked for a 9-yard loss by White. He throws short to LeBlanc for 3. 4th and 11. Attempt is incomplete to Gillenberg. Turnover on downs. Burt Emanuel Jr. will then come on to kneel 3 times. That's the end of the ball game. San Diego State will win this one 24-7. Aztecs roll to 7-1 overall, undefeated, sole possession of first in the Mountain West. With that, Boise State lost to Fresno earlier in the day. Pokes will stumble to 3-5 overall, and their bowl dreams are dimming in Laramie. Key stats that help tell the story: Aztecs own total yards, 412 to 198. They grinded Wyoming into the Snapdragon turf. Lucky Sutton, another career game, 27 carries, 158 yards. That dagger TD, he is the king of the late game ground and pound. Jaden Denigal, 13 of 25, 198 yards, 1 touchdown pass. Efficient in spots, but there are those 2 interceptions. Aztecs defense gives Wyoming Caden Anderson fits, 9 of 28 for him on the night, 92 yards, no touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Give the rushing edge to the Aztecs. San Diego State leads that 212 to 112 yards for Wyoming. Sutton feasting on the night. So on the turnovers, Aztecs end up +2. They force that strip, and all those interceptions contribute to the differential. Field goals, Placencia 1 of 2, good from 34, and missing that 23-yarder that snaps his 26-make streak. He is still 31 for 33 on his collegiate career. That's close to 94%. On the penalty front, Wyoming 7 for 65. The Aztecs rack up 88 yards in penalties. But with dominant D and timely runs, the Aztecs build momentum 4 games left in the season. None more important than next week's matchup in Honolulu against Hawaii. Yet another in a series that began when both teams played in the Western Athletic Conference back in the day. It's 7-1 on the year, new ground in the Sean Lewis era, but old hat for the Aztec program. It's the 4th time they've started that way in the last 10 years. Their winning streak extends to 6 straight. They have outscored opponent 176 to 44 over that time, and they are undefeated at home. But most important, 4-0 in the Mountain West. The last 2 times they started out that way, 2015, 2016, they went on to win the conference championship. Here's more from Lucky Sutton and Trey White after the game. Lucky talking about his individual effort and that of the offense as a whole. That deserves all the credit. And Trey being Trey, giving credit to his teammates, staying level-headed about the win.
You know, they had a great defense, and, you know, I have to give their kudos to them. But, you know, it was not a perfect game. You know, it's career high, but there's still a lot to clean up offense. Me, I needed a lot to clean up. I didn't play a perfect game, but, you know, it's a great feeling, but time to get back to work on Monday. You know, I have a lot of trust in those guys. I'm really proud of how they play every single week. They keep on getting better and better. You know, we started off slow, but they figured a way to get the job done at the end, and they keep on getting better and better. I'm really proud of those guys, and I'm really appreciative for them. We forget about the last play. Now it's up to the next play. We got to keep on playing. You know, whatever happens, the last play don't mean nothing. It doesn't affect our mindset for the upcoming play. We just got to figure out right now in the moment. We really thrive off the defensive, their energy. When they make a play, we're like, okay, we have to get out there. We have to make a play now. So really, really thankful for this defense. Without this defense, like they do a really great job, and I'm really appreciative for them. Play for the past, present, and future Aztecs. So having all those alumni come out and everybody come out, it really means a lot. We'd have to keep on having them fans out, especially here at home. It really, really makes a difference in the game. So we're really appreciative to all the fans that show up to our games.
Yeah, we just had a hunt up front. We knew our D-line had to get after. We had to attack their weak spot of their O-line, which we felt was their tackles, and because their interior is pretty good. And I feel like we hunted them up pretty well today, and we were kind of in his head a little bit today. I think that we knew that they were going to try to run the ball on us. I feel like that's what they kind of leaned on during their games. And once we shut that down, then we had to force them in 3rd and longs. And every time it's 3rd and long, we're going to get after it every time. So just kind of forcing them in those long down and distances was kind of the key for us there. Yeah, we just stick to the game plan. We just kind of had to settle in as a defense. They obviously scored on that first drive, which is really unacceptable in our defense. We have a really high standard for that. And, once we settle in and really just lock in and just go up to each other, because, we have great chemistry on that defense. So we know we got each other's backs, and we know that's not acceptable. So once we settled in, we just locked in and did the rest of the 0 points after that. We're 7-1, and we still haven't played a complete game as a team in all 3 phases. And the locker room wasn't as excited as it usually is, because we know we can play so much better. And I feel like we're just a really hungry team, and we know that we have a lot of play left ahead of us, but we know we had to take it game by game, and that's the only way to do it. And we'll eventually keep stacking wins. We're 0-0 right now, so we just have so much to work for, and that's what's exciting.
Another whale of a game for Chambliss, a career 13 tackles, 8 solo, half a sack, and the INT. And by the way, that rushing TD by Napier, the first of his career, while Cardwell's reception for a TD was the second of his career and first with the Aztecs on the season. Now, from the losing side, Wyoming coach Jay Sawvell said the Aztecs are a really good football team who deserves their record. His Cowboys had a narrow window, he says, to get through the game if they were going to win, and they did not. The team that made the fewest mistakes won the game, he says. Big note from the turnovers on offense, and for the season, Aztecs have 6 turnovers now total, yet none have led to points by the opposition. I think Jaden Denegol and the rest of the Aztecs offense may have to buy a few steak dinners for the Aztec defense after this is all said and done. We close with this for your consideration, coming courtesy of the head coach, Sean Lewis, who sounds like he's giving a stump speech in this compilation for consideration of all those AP voters out there trying to get his team ranked in the top 25 in the country.
Right, like we're at this point in the season now where we're not talking about preseason polls and what people think they are. Like, we've played games, right? We're going to be in the second week in November. There's only 4 weeks left in the regular season before we're all hitting championship weekend. And, we're single-mindedly focused on the present at B, but for all the AP voters in the room, right, like, how many guys are 7-1? So I think the resume speaks for itself. And if you're talking about the top 25 teams in the country that are consistently showing up, and the resume matters, and not, again, what we think people were or what we thought they were going to be as we entered the season, but what they actually are, right? Like, we've talked all the time in here, right, constantly about, hey, this is a what have you done for me lately business. We've won 6 in a row. How many teams in the country have won 6 in a row? So, yeah, I think we're one of the best in the country. I think we should be in the top 24. And obviously I'm pretty biased, but I'm going to stand on the soapbox and do my part, and I can't wait to see our community show up and give us a top 25 performance from their support and from the community as well, because I think we got one of the best cities in the world, not just in the country, but in the world, and I can't wait to see them show up and show out with us the next opportunity that we get to be home.
Okay, that'll wrap up this post-game edition of Aztecs All In, with the Aztecs again defeating the Cowboys 27-7, last matchup ever as conference foes. The series is led by the Aztecs 21-19, 13-7 at home. Check us out on the X at Aztecs_all_in. Drop us a line at AztecsAllin@gmail.com. We will touch base soon as we can with you next week with a preview of yet another big conference matchup. This one's going to be one that takes place after the Aztecs make a long flight to the Aloha State and take on the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. Until then, we bid you aloha.